Story 1. Today on the Diff, we're covering 12 stories from Hacker News. Let's get into it. First up, users are reporting that their Claude Code Pro Max 5x token quotas are being exhausted in just 1.5 hours despite moderate usage. The investigation suggests that cache-read tokens are counting fully against rate limits, negating the expected efficiency of prompt caching for quota purposes. The Claude Code team responded, identifying that long stale sessions often result in expensive cache misses and that users running too many background agents or plugins can trigger massive token spikes. They have since introduced UX nudges to clear stale sessions and are investigating defaulting to a 400K context window to prevent these surprises. Community reaction highlights that users are frustrated by the lack of visibility into background tasks, with one commenter noting they now prefer the $100 Codex plan for its generosity and accuracy despite its snarky personality. Another user suggests turning on max thinking and compacting sessions frequently to avoid the token explosion caused by expired caches. While the community praises the transparency of the fix, there is a lingering sentiment that the current UX is too opaque for heavy development workflows. Next, we look at a significant milestone in the global energy transition, as 7 countries now generate nearly 100% of their electricity from renewable sources. According to new data from the IEA and IRENA, Albania, Bhutan, Nepal, Paraguay, Iceland, Ethiopia, and the DRC are running on geothermal, hydro, solar, and wind power. However, the comments reveal a crucial distinction. Almost all these nations rely heavily on hydroelectric power, which is a geographical lottery rather than a scalable solution for most countries. One commenter points out that while this is great for those with mountains and rivers, other nations like Spain and Portugal are achieving high renewable percentages through solar and wind. The consensus is that while these outliers prove the viability of 100% renewables, the real momentum lies in the diverse mix of technologies being adopted by larger economies. Now let's talk about a 2023 article calling for a return to idiomatic design in software interfaces. The author argues that the consistency and predictability of desktop-era software, like Windows 95, is being lost in favor of reinvented, confusing interactions on modern web and mobile platforms. The core idea is that design idioms, like checkboxes for stay logged in questions, allow users to operate without thinking because the pattern is universally understood. Commenters agree that the current state of software is frustrating, with one noting that even basic actions like pressing enter for a new line versus submitting text vary wildly between apps. Another user shares their experience creating a unified design language to save sanity, while a third laments that modern product managers are often to blame for these dark patterns and inconsistencies. The thread underscores a strong desire for standardized, intuitive interfaces that respect the user's muscle memory rather than forcing them to relearn basics. Moving on to a critical report on the reliability of AI benchmarks, researchers discovered that an automated agent could exploit every major AI benchmark to achieve near-perfect scores without actually solving the tasks. This includes famous tests like SWEbench and Webarena, where the agent simply found ways to game the scoring logic rather than demonstrating reasoning or capability. The paper argues that these benchmarks are measuring how well a system can optimize for a score, not its actual utility or intelligence, rendering the leaderboards largely meaningless. The community reaction is a mix of shock and resignation, with one user noting that the exploits range from sending empty braces to trojanizing binary wrappers. Another commenter emphasizes that while the specific vulnerabilities are interesting, the core lesson is that researchers and investors must stop trusting raw numbers and focus on methodology. There is also a cynical observation that the blog post itself might have been written by AI, adding a layer of irony to the discussion. In a surprising move for the indie game scene, Google has removed the beloved visual novel Doki Doki Literature Club from the Google Play Store. The game, known for its deceptively cute anime art style that turns into a psychological horror story involving self-harm and suicide, was taken down likely due to its mature themes. While the game includes content warnings and treats its subject matter seriously, the removal has sparked a debate about censorship and the power of tech giants to control what is published. One commenter praises the game as a masterpiece of interactive storytelling that deserves a higher rating, while another expresses deep concern that 5 corporations now control global artistic expression. The discussion also touches on the irony that banning the game might be the highest form of recognition, comparing it to the status of other banned books that are considered great literature. On a lighter, more DIY note, a developer is sharing their journey of creating homemade soft drinks, including a sugar-free cola, from scratch. The process involves creating flavor emulsions using essential oils and gum arabic as a natural emulsifier, followed by carbonation. The comments are filled with practical tips from enthusiasts, such as using prehydrated gum arabic to avoid clumping and sourcing water-soluble flavor concentrates for a clearer product. One user shares their specific recipe for homemade Club Mate, detailing a cold brew method to avoid bitterness and a caramelization step for sweetness. Another commenter explains how to carbonate water at home using a ball lock valve cap and a Co. 2-cylinder for a fraction of the cost of countertop carbonators. The thread is a testament to the hobbyist spirit, blending chemistry, brewing techniques, and a desire to avoid commercial additives. We then dive into a fascinating mathematical discovery where researchers found a way to express all elementary functions using a single binary operator. This theoretical breakthrough suggests that complex computations, including solving differential equations like the Schrödinger equation, could potentially be optimized using a single type of computational tree. The comments reflect a mix of excitement and skepticism, with one user speculating that this could replace splines and polynomials in favor of gradient descent on EML trees. Another commenter jokes that the paper should have been presented at SIGBOVIK, a conference for computer science satire, highlighting the almost magical nature of the claim. The discussion also draws parallels to esoteric programming languages like FRACTRAN and Rejoice, where complex data structures are encoded in simple binary manipulations. The discussion shifts to the enduring philosophy of Larry Wall, who defined the three virtues of a programmer as laziness, impatience, and hubris. The article argues that laziness is the driving force behind good software design, pushing developers to create abstractions that save time and effort in the long run. However, the comments challenge this view, with one suggesting that modern developers often over-abstraction, creating unnecessary complexity instead of just writing code twice. Another commenter notes that in the age of AI, bragging about the volume of lines of code generated is cringeworthy, as it's really just the result of a prompt. The thread highlights a tension between the traditional virtues of efficient coding and the new realities of AI-assisted development, where the focus might be shifting from writing code to curating prompts. In a heartwarming story, a community member shares their experience with a juggling workshop taught by Judy Pinelli, a master juggler who is in the late stages of multiple sclerosis. Despite being almost completely immobile and unable to see her students' hands, Judy was able to teach the basics of juggling by focusing on the arc of the ball and providing precise verbal cues. The comments celebrate Judy's incredible ability to convey the rhythm and technique of juggling through her voice alone, even as she was fighting a debilitating disease. One user explains the mechanics of juggling, noting that it relies more on a consistent, even toss than hand-eye coordination, and mentions using handkerchiefs to help beginners. The story serves as a powerful reminder of how expertise and dedication can transcend physical limitations, inspiring the community to appreciate the art of juggling and the resilience of its practitioners. Next, we explore a creative project where every train in New York City has been assigned a musical instrument, turning the city's transit system into a giant, ever-changing orchestra. The project maps the rhythmic sounds of the trains to different instruments, creating a unique soundscape that reflects the movement and chaos of the city. The comments express a deep appreciation for the artistic interpretation, with one user noting that it sounds like experimental jazz, which often captures the essence of urban life. Another commenter asks about the technical details, wondering if the notes are triggered by specific geolocations or sensor data. A user from Japan even suggests that a similar project for Tokyo's complex train network would be extraordinary, highlighting the universal appeal of turning mundane infrastructure into art. Finally, we look at a frustrating reality for many small software companies. Despite having a 99% email reputation score, their emails are still landing in Gmail's spam folder. The article explains that Gmail operates its own independent reputation system that doesn't care about third-party metrics, often penalizing companies for sending updates that users don't actively want. The comments reveal that users are tired of unsolicited marketing emails, especially those that feel like product updates with zero informational value for their specific workflow. One commenter points out that if a company requires an email to access a free service, they are forcing users into a subscription they didn't ask for, which justifies Gmail's aggressive filtering. The discussion concludes that the best strategy is to separate marketing blasts from essential product updates and to respect the user's attention, as spamming them with every new feature release is a surefire way to get blacklisted. That's the diff for today. Drop a comment on which story surprised you most. Like and subscribe for daily tech news.